Welcome to Tales of Auntie Ray, where the tea is hot, the receipts are hotter, and nobody gets to rewrite history without getting read for filth. Grab your sweet tea, your tissues, and maybe a fan because this one's a long, slow burn. 8,000 words of truth coming right up. The invitation slid under my apartment door like it was trying to sneak in without being noticed. Thick cream cardstock, gold foil crest, calligraphy so fancy it needed its own zip code. Michael Thomas Callahan and Olivia Elizabeth Harrington, Crestwood Country Club, black tie, June 26th. In the bottom left corner, someone had scribbled in blue ink, Table 12. They assigned me a seat before I even said I was coming. I left it on the kitchen counter for 9 straight days, right between the overdue cone bill and a coupon for $2 off rotisserie chicken. Every morning I made coffee and stared at it like it might sprout legs and walk away on its own. It didn't. On day 10 I drove to the men's warehouse in White Plains and bought the only navy suit that didn't make me look like I was going to a funeral. The salesman kept calling me sir, in that tone that says he's already decided I can't afford anything in the store. I paid cash so the card wouldn't get declined in front of him. I told myself I was going for Eileen. My wife had been gone 12 years come August, but I still set an extra place at the table on her birthday and talked to her when the radiator started knocking at 3 a.m. She would have wanted Michael to have both his parents there. Even if one of them had become the family ghost story, everybody pretended not to believe. So, I went. The drive from Yonkers to Crestwood took 37 minutes on a Saturday with no traffic. I rolled the windows down because the AC in my 2011 Camry gave up the ghost 2 summers ago, and I never saw the point in fixing it. The air smelled like fresh-cut grass and old money. I handed the valet my keys and tried not to laugh when he looked at the car like he'd just been asked to park a lawnmower. Inside, the country club was exactly the way I remembered it. Marble floors you could see your sins in, oil paintings of dead men in red coats chasing foxes they never caught, and that faint lemon polish smell that lets you know you're somewhere people have never had to wait in line for anything. The seating chart was framed on an easel in the foyer, like it belonged in the Met. My name was easy to find. Thomas Callahan, Table 12. Michael's name was up front on the dais with the Harringtons, naturally. I wasn't shocked, just bone-tired. Table 12 was tucked behind a marble column, 6 feet from the kitchen doors. Every time a waiter burst through with another tray, the smell of panic and truffle oil rolled over us like a wave. The centerpiece was half the size of the ones up front, like somebody started arranging peonies and then remembered we didn't rate the good flowers. I was the last one to arrive. 7 faces turned toward me at once. Aunt Dolores, Eileen's older sister, was already 4 champagnes in and wearing a purple hat the size of a satellite dish. She grabbed both my hands and squeezed until my knuckles cracked. Tommy, sit your narrow behind down. They stuck us with the rejects and the gluten-free brigade. Next to her sat Olivia's great Aunt Prudence, 93 if she was a day, clutching a hearing aid the size of a flip phone. Then there was a 20-something with purple streaks in her hair who introduced herself as the second photographer, but they ran out of kids to seat me with. So here I am living the dream. 2 empty chairs. And a cousin of the bride named Tripp, who kept checking his Rolex like time itself had personally offended him. I took the seat with the handwritten place card. Somebody had used a Sharpie like they were mad at the paper. Thomas Callahan. No, Mr. Nothing. Just my name, like I was staff. The first course showed up, some sad little pile of microgreens with 3 edible flowers arranged to look like they were having a better night than me. Dolores stabbed a violet with her fork and held it up to the chandelier light. Back in my day, we called these weeds and pulled them out of the sidewalk cracks. I gave her the smile you give when you're somewhere you don't want to be, but you promised yourself you'd behave. Across the ballroom, the head table glowed like heaven had a VIP section. Michael looked like a magazine cover in his black peak lapel tux. Olivia was pure magic in a dress that probably cost more than my first house. And right in the middle sat Preston Harrington IV, tall, silver-haired, permanent tan from places the rest of us only see on screens, holding court like he'd invented money, and the rest of us were just renting it. I watched my son laugh at something Preston said. The laugh was perfect. Practiced. I taught him that laugh when he was 15, and I was still somebody, when Callahan Construction had 23 guys on payroll and a waiting list for teardowns in Scarsdale. You laugh like that when the bank president is explaining why he can't extend a line of credit, but you still want him to remember you fondly. I wondered if Michael still knew how to laugh when nobody was watching. The courses kept coming. Lobster bisques served in miniature pumpkins no bigger than shot glasses. Duck that had clearly been bullied into tenderness by a sous vide machine. I ate slow. Nobody talked to me directly. Tripp asked at one point if I was with the quartet. I told him no. I was the groom's father. He looked like he'd bitten into something sour and expensive. After the entrees, the band took 5, and the toast started. Preston stood first. He didn't need the microphone. The man had a voice that could part the Red Sea or close a hostile takeover, depending on the day. He talked about legacy. About how the Harringtons had been summering in Newport since before the Titanic thought it was unsinkable. About how proud he was to welcome Michael into that tradition. He never once said my name. Olivia's maid of honor cried so hard her false lashes tried to make a run for it. Michael's best man told a story about sophomore year when Michael cried during Armageddon and how that proved he had a heart bigger than his trust fund, which got the laugh of the night because apparently billionaires think feelings are adorable. Then it was Michael's turn. He stood, glass raised, eyes shining under $1 million worth of crystal chandeliers. He thanked the Harringtons for their unbelievable generosity. Thanked Olivia for saving him. Thanked his mother, who I know is watching from the best seat in the house. He never looked toward table 12. Not even for a second. The cake was cut, 6 tiers of fondant so perfect it looked like it had been 3D printed. The band came back and murdered Sinatra for a while, then transitioned into Ed Sheeran, and somehow nobody rioted. People drifted to the dance floor. Dolores passed out with her face in a bread plate. Great Aunt Prudence was trying to convince a waiter that sorbet had lactose. The photographer's assistant was live-streaming the whole thing on TikTok with the caption, "Rich people are a different species." I sat alone. That's when Bitsy Harrington floated by on her way to the ladies' room. Olivia's mother was 55 pretending to be 40, all Pilates and filler, and the kind of calm that comes from knowing your biggest problem is choosing between St. Barth's and Aspen for Christmas. She wore a mother of the bride gown the color of money and a smile sharp enough to perform surgery. "Thomas," she said, stretching my name like it tasted bad. "So glad you could make it." I stood because my mother raised me right. Bitsy. Her eyes did a quick inventory. Off-the-rack suit, shoes I'd shined myself, water glass I'd been nursing since the salad course. "You look," she searched for a word that wouldn't get her sued. "Thin." 12 years ago, she hugged me at the club's New Year's Eve gala and told me I was a wizard with a nail gun. Now I was thin. "Some of us don't have time for the buffet," I said. Her smile never moved. "Well, some people just fade, don't they?" Then she glided away on a cloud of Chanel and contempt. Something inside me clicked. Not rage. Not yet. Just the quiet sound of a man who'd been holding his breath for 12 years finally letting it out. I stood up. I didn't plan it. I didn't rehearse it in the mirror. I just walked. Past the tables of people who used to call me Tommy when I was bankrolling their kitchen renos. Past the ice swan that was already crying itself into a puddle. Past the floral arch that cost more than most people's weddings. I stopped at the head table. Michael saw me first. His face did that thing kids do when they realize the monster under the bed is real and it's their father. "Dad," he whispered. "You okay?" Olivia turned. Preston turned. The entire table went still like somebody hit pause. I smiled the way you do when you've got absolutely nothing left to lose. I just wanted to make a toast, I said. Preston gave that fake chuckle rich people use when they're nervous. Tom, maybe now's not. No, I said, loud enough that the tables closest to us shut up fast. Now is perfect. I picked up Michael's water glass, heavy crystal engraved with the date, and raised a high. Most of you don't know me, I started. My name is Thomas Callahan. I'm the groom's father. Tonight, I was seated at table 12, back by the kitchen doors, where they put the people they hope nobody notices. A ripple went through the room. Somebody killed the music. Michael stood. Dad, please don't do this. I looked at him, really looked, for the first time in years. I'm not here to embarrass you, son, I said. I'm here because you asked me to come, and because some stories don't stay buried just because they're inconvenient. I reached into my jacket and pulled out a folded stack of papers worn soft from being carried too long. 20 years ago, I said, I built half the houses in this zip code. The Harringtons guest house in Bedford Hills? I framed it myself. The new pro shop at this very club? My crew poured the foundation in February by hand because the ground was frozen solid and Preston here wanted it done before the tulips came up. Preston's face had gone the color of printer paper. We were friends, I continued. We drank Macallan together after charity auctions. Our wives took Pilates together. Our kids had playdates. And when the market was on fire, Preston came to me with a proposition. A partnership. Harrington Callahan Developments. 50-50. Like brothers, he said. I unfolded the papers. This is the agreement. Signed March 15th, 2007. Witnessed. Notarized. Filed with the state of New York. I held it up so the front tables could see the signatures. 3 months later, the first big job fell through. Subprime was cracking. Banks got skittish. And one Tuesday morning, I showed up to the office on Mamaroneck Avenue, and the locks had been changed. My name was gone from the door. The contracts we'd bid on together? Gone. The equipment leases? Transferred. The debt? All in my name alone. The ballroom was so quiet I could hear Great Aunt Prudence's hearing aids squealing. Preston dissolved the partnership overnight, I said. Quietly. Just barely legal. He had better lawyers. I had subcontractors who hadn't been paid in 90 days, and they came after me. The banks came after me. My credit was radioactive. My reputation was toxic. I looked straight at Preston. His knuckles were white on the tablecloth. You didn't just take my business, I said. You took my future. My family's future. 6 months later, my wife was diagnosed with stage 3 ovarian cancer. We lost the house in Chappaqua. We lost the insurance that would have gotten her into the trial at Sloan Kettering. She died in a county hospital in the Bronx because that's what we could afford. Michael was crying now, shoulders shaking, Olivia clutching his hand like it was the only thing keeping him upright. I don't tell you this for sympathy, I said to the room. I tell you because tonight my son stood up and thanked everyone who helped make him the man he is today. Everyone except the man who taught him how to swing a hammer straight and true, how to read a blueprint, how to keep your word even when it costs you. I turned to Michael. I lost everything, I said, but I never lost the truth. And I'm done letting people pretend I disappeared because I was weak. I disappeared because I was robbed. And tonight, I was hidden at table 12 like a dirty family secret. I placed the papers gently in front of Preston. I wish you both a beautiful life, I said to Michael and Olivia. I really do. But some legacies are built on other people's bones. And those don't stand forever. Then I turned and walked out. I didn't run. I didn't yell. I just walked through that silent ballroom, past the white roses and the crystal and the people who suddenly couldn't look me in the eye. Outside, the valet had my dented Camry waiting. I tipped him $20 because I felt like it. As I pulled away, I saw Michael in the rearview mirror running barefoot across the gravel parking lot screaming, "Dad," into the night. I didn't stop. 3 days later, the Journal News had it above the fold. Then the Post. Then the Times. Someone photographed the documents. Someone always does. Harrington Holdings stock dropped 14% in a week. 2 board members resigned to spend more time with their families. The SEC opened an inquiry that still hasn't closed. Preston hasn't been seen at the club since. Michael showed up at my apartment the following Wednesday still wearing his tuxedo shirt, wrinkled and smelling like airport. He'd flown home from the honeymoon early. Olivia stayed in Greece. He stood in my doorway, looking 20 years older than 31. "Dad," he said, voice cracking. "I didn't know. Mom always said you made bad investments, that you walked away, that you quit on us." I let him in. We sat at my little Formica table, and I made coffee neither of us drank. "I should have called more," he said. "After Mom died, I was so angry. And the Harringtons, they made it easy. They had answers. They had money. They had a story where I didn't have to think about you." I listened. "I thought you quit," he whispered. "I thought you quit on us." "I didn't quit," I said. "I was erased." He cried then the way he hadn't since he was 9, and his golden retriever got hit by a Jeep on Palmer Avenue. I didn't hug him. Not yet. Some wounds have to breathe before they can heal. In August, Preston Harrington asked me to lunch. Not at the club. At the Sawmill Diner off the Parkway, the one with the cracked red booths and waitresses who call everybody hon. He looked smaller. His hair had gone from silver to snow in 60 days. He ordered coffee black. I did the same. "I was wrong," he said without greeting. I panicked in '08. Everyone was panicking. I made choices. I waited. I told myself it was just business, he said. That you were tough. That you'd land on your feet. I told myself a lot of lies. He slid an envelope across the table. Inside was a cashier's check for $2,800,000. "It's not enough," he said. "It'll never be enough. But it's what I took, plus interest, plus pain and suffering, plus whatever the accountant said wouldn't trigger a tax event." There was a second envelope. A letter addressed to the Journal News, the SEC, and anyone else who would listen, admitting everything. "Why now?" I asked. He gave a tired half-smile. "Because my daughter won't take my calls. Because my grandson, if I ever have one, deserves to know his grandfather isn't a thief. And because you stood up in that ballroom and you didn't scream. You just told the truth. And the truth won." I left the check on the table that day. Michael moved back east in September. He and Olivia rented a little cape in Bronxville with creaky floors and a yard big enough for a dog someday. She was quieter now, still beautiful, but the shine had rubbed off in places. They came to dinner every Sunday. I learned how to cook again. Real food, the kind Eileen made with too much garlic and love. Roast chicken that fell off the bone. Lasagna that took 3 hours and was gone in 15 minutes. One Sunday in November, Michael brought a banker's box of old photographs. We sat on my living room floor and went through them like we were handling relics. There was one of me and Preston on a job site in 2006, arms around each other, covered in sawdust, grinning like we were going to live forever. Michael held it up. "You kept this." "I kept everything," I said.
He was quiet for a long time.